I never planned to become the kind of woman who kept secrets from herself. But one day you wake up, and your life isn't a novel anymore. It's a series of skipped chapters and lost pages. My name is Amanda. I'm 39. Big schedule. I fold laundry with the TV humming in the background. I do drop-offs, school sign-ups, and reminders no one asked for but everyone needs. And for the past 3 years, my husband and I have been sleeping in separate rooms. The first time I noticed them, it wasn't lust. It wasn't even conscious. Just 2 guys volunteering at the community center, helping set up speakers for the youth fundraiser. One was named Jason, late 20s, confident, a little too comfortable in his own skin. The other, Tyler, maybe 24. Quieter, but his eyes said more than he ever did. They weren't boys. But they weren't supposed to look at me like that either. And yet they did. It wasn't a look you describe easily. It wasn't leering. It was noticing. Noticing the way I tucked my hair behind my ear, the way I tugged my sweater down out of habit. They noticed me. Not as someone's wife, not as a mother, not as a coordinator. It was me. Jason was the first to speak. He came into the kitchen for a folding table and didn't move. Just looked at me and said, "You look tired." 3 words. And I swear I forgot how to breathe. Because it wasn't the words. It was the way he said it, like he saw it. The tired I carried in my shoulders, the kind that sleep doesn't touch. I didn't respond. Couldn't. But that night I scrolled through old photos. Ones where I still had that curve in my smile, where I didn't look like I was bracing for something. I stared at that woman like she was someone else. Tyler was different. He asked for help fixing a light in the back room. I held the wire steady while he adjusted it. Our fingers brushed, and he didn't pull away. "You okay?" he asked. I nodded too fast. The silence after that question lingered longer than it should have. My heart was louder than the fluorescent hum above us. That was the second moment. The third came on a rainy Thursday. My husband was late to pick me up. Jason pulled up in his truck. Tyler was in the passenger seat. "You sure you want to wait out here?" Jason asked, nodding toward the downpour. I hesitated. That's all it took. Got in. They didn't speak. Not for the whole drive. But the silence between them was loud. And I could feel something unspoken pulsing between all of us. When they dropped me off, Tyler leaned over just before I got out and whispered, "He likes you, you know." I asked, "Which one?" He didn't answer. The note showed up a few days later. Tucked between event sign-in sheets, 5 words. "Tell us to stop, please." I held that paper so tightly, the fold frayed in my palm. They weren't asking for permission. They were giving me a choice. The room where it happened wasn't special. A storage space, dusty shelves, leftover decorations from last year's Easter event. But it was where I let myself fall. Not in love. Not even into desire. But into something that felt dangerously close to being alive again. Jason stepped in first. He said nothing. Just watched me rearrange a shelf that didn't need rearranging. "You always do too much," he said. I smiled, but it broke halfway through. Then Tyler showed up. No plan, no script. Just presence. They didn't argue. They didn't compete. They just took turns. One moment it was Jason standing close enough for his breath to reach the back of my neck. The next, Tyler was behind me, silent, steady, like he'd been waiting his whole life for me to stop pretending I didn't notice. But I didn't say no. I never said no. That's the part one still replay. Not the heat, not the tension, but the silence. It was the kind of silence that doesn't beg for explanation. Just asks you to surrender. When it was over, we didn't talk. We just sat in that room surrounded by leftover banners and unopened juice boxes like nothing had happened. I got dressed slowly. My hands shook. Not from shame. From the weight of knowing I had let something inside that couldn't be undone. Back in the car, I stared at my hands for 10 full minutes. No mark. No bruise. But they didn't feel like mine. Not anymore. At home, my husband didn't look up from the TV. "Dinner?" he asked. I said, "Already ate." My voice didn't crack. That scared me more than anything else. Later that night, I stood in the shower and didn't turn on the water. I just stood there, feeling the echo of something I didn't know how to name. The touch of hands that weren't mine. The whisper of lips that knew what surrender looked like. Few days passed. I tried to forget. But then I saw them again, carrying folding chairs like nothing had changed. They didn't glance my way. Didn't touch me. Didn't speak. Except Tyler. He paused. Scratched the back of his neck. Said, "Don't worry, we're good at pretending." And just like that, they were gone. But I was left in the hallway, staring at a bulletin board with one crooked flyer and a photo tucked behind it. Me and my husband. His arm around me. My eyes mid-blink. Not smiling. Not fully there. I remembered how I hated the way he held me that day. Not because it was rough, but because it felt like he was claiming something he didn't even want to keep. I folded the photo until it disappeared in my hand. Then I heard a voice behind me. It was Kendra, the facility director. She didn't yell. Didn't accuse. She just said quietly, "I think you should go home." So I did. But the truth is, I don't know if I want to undo what happened, or if I just want to stop hating myself for needing it in the first place. If you've ever felt like the silence was heavier than the noise, like you crossed a line you didn't even see until you were already on the other side, then maybe you'll understand. Leave a comment. Not to judge. Not to fix it. Just so I don't feel so alone in this kind of quiet. And if you've ever wanted something you shouldn't, subscribe. Maybe we're the same kind of broken.